A bracelet had been wrapped around Isaac's hand. The very next moment, something odd occurred. That bracelet slowly detached his hand from his body. The astonishing thing was, he didn't feel any pain at all. Then a capsule was inserted into his hand, and the wound healed by itself. When Isaac opened his eyes, he was soaked in cold sweat. He thought it was just a dream, but the pain in his hand felt all too real. To calm himself down, Isaac tried to switch on the telly, but all of a sudden the telly vanished. He was utterly stunned. He reached his hand out and began to feel around. His fingers bumped into something invisible, cold and peculiar, and in the very next instant, the telly reappeared where it had been. Isaac wondered if he was losing his marbles. To get to the bottom of it, Isaac went to the hospital. The doctor told him that the bone in his hand was broken, but the break was incredibly clean, as though it had been sliced by a machine, and the strangest thing was, there wasn't a mark on his skin. Isaac was a computer engineer who, together with his mate, had sent a signal out into space as an experiment. After a while, he actually received some data back. Isaac also had a habit of vlogging his daily life, recording everything on camera. One day, while out hiking, he witnessed something extraordinary, a mysterious object descending from the sky. He wasn't the only one. Other people in the area could see it as well. As the police rushed to the scene, Isaac managed to get there first. Right in front of him was a UFO, an alien spaceship. Excited and nervous, Isaac tried to capture the moment on camera. But before he could fully take in what was happening, the spaceship suddenly disappeared. Just then, an alien appeared behind him. Shocked and panicked, Isaac somehow managed to point his camera at it and start recording. However, the alien ignored him and walked away. Sensing danger, Isaac carefully began a run. Suddenly, a bright blue light flashed and everything went dark. Isaac instantly lost consciousness. Later, after returning to his office, Isaac showed the footage to a colleague. The video clearly suggested that he'd been abducted by aliens, but his friend didn't believe a word of it. Determined to prove the truth, Isaac went home and uploaded the video to YouTube with the title Abduction, claiming he had been kidnapped by aliens. The video quickly went viral. The next day, media channels started calling him for interviews. During one interview, a reporter questioned him intensely, asking how he managed to have a camera ready at such a perfect moment. Isaac became confused and couldn't answer properly. The reporter dismissed his story as a hoax and ended the interview abruptly. Soon, news channels began broadcasting that Isaac had faked the video just to gain fame. Frustrated, Isaac started searching online for other alien abduction victims. While browsing, he came across a comment from a girl who described experiences identical to his. Curious, Isaac contacted her and arranged to meet at a hotel. When he arrived, the girl introduced herself as Sarah. Isaac showed her his footage and some historical UFO-related images. Sarah then told him about a man named Carl who had allegedly been abducted by aliens in Alaska in 1989. According to her, Carl had even passed a lie detector test but mysteriously disappeared afterwards. Before parting ways, Isaac gave Sarah his number and asked her to let him know if she found anything else. The following day, Isaac set out to send his video to people who had written about alien abductions online. On his way, he met a writer who offered to tell his story, suggesting that if Isaac passed a lie detector test, people would finally believe him. Taking the advice, Isaac underwent the test and passed. The writer said he would return later and left, but soon after, 2 government agents showed up and captured Isaac. These agents were part of a secret operation that targeted people who claimed to have seen UFOs or aliens. When Isaac came round, he found himself locked in a room guarded by androids. Sarah had also been captured and was being held in a separate room. In front of Isaac was a screen where an officer instructed him to cooperate and examine various objects in the room, apparently to assess his abilities. The officer then showed him a picture of Carl and asked what he knew about him. Isaac insisted he didn't know anything. Suddenly, Isaac felt something odd. As he stretched out his hands, the screen in front of him toppled over. Realizing something had changed within him, he went to look for Sarah, but the androids confronted him. In a sudden burst of strength, Isaac managed to destroy them and took their weapons. Moving on, he found Sarah, freed her, and together they tried to escape. However, all the exits had been locked by the officer. As when it became clear Isaac had developed some sort of power, using it, he managed to unlock a door and escape with Sarah, even sealing it behind them. Meanwhile, the officer informed his team that Isaac and Sarah were heading towards Carl. Determined to uncover the truth, he sent more androids after them. After escaping, Isaac and Sarah found themselves in a rural village. They took shelter in a small restaurant. Isaac told Sarah that if he could get online, he might be able to track down Carl's whereabouts. He approached the local girl and asked if she knew anyone with a computer or internet access. She gave him the address of a hacker, jotting it down on a scrap of paper. With renewed hope, they set off towards the hacker. But just as they arrive, the androids caught up with them again, forcing them to leg it once more. The hacker reveals a shocking truth. Those pursuing them are part of a secret organization operating under the United Nations, living underground and keeping everything under wraps. He admits that he knows about them because he once hacked into their system. Isaac immediately asks him to track down Carl's whereabouts. Using his laptop and internet connection, the hacker manages to trace Carl to Canada, where he's been hiding out. Without wasting any time, the hacker starts a video call. When Carl appears on the screen, Isaac explains everything that's happened, from sending the signal into space to receiving a mysterious reply. Isaac still has his doubts, thinking it could just be a glitch. But Carl takes it seriously and asks for the original satellite signal data. Isaac tells the hacker to download it directly from NASA's servers, and surprisingly, the hacker manages it with ease. They send the data to Carl, who uses his device to convert the signals into an audio file. After analyzing it, Carl makes a terrifying revelation. The signals weren't random. They were sent by aliens. And according to the decoded message, aliens will arrive on Earth in just 5 days at exactly 4:00 p.m. Carl urgently warns Isaac to go into hiding. He tells him to destroy or switch off all electronic devices, as the secret agency could track him through them. Without warning, Carl ends the call. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Isaac decides they must find Carl in person. With only 5 days left before the aliens arrive, Isaac, Sarah, and the hacker set off for Canada. Meanwhile, the officer tracking them also discovers their destination. After traveling all night, they finally reach Canada the next day. While searching for Carl, they board a train. However, the androids are still following them, moving along the railway tracks. The hacker quickly gives Isaac and Sarah masks, explaining that the androids can identify them through facial recognition. Wearing the masks, they sit quietly as the androids enter the train and begin scanning the passengers. One of them becomes suspicious of Isaac and prepares to shoot, but at the last moment they manage to escape. In a desperate move, Isaac and Sarah climb onto the outside of the train, even riding it upside down to avoid detection. The hacker rides near the train door. An android attempts to chase Isaac on top of the train, but loses its balance and falls. Another android tries to follow, but the hacker pushes him off the train, saving him. Eventually, they reach Carl's cabin. Watching through a camera, Carl cautiously steps outside with a gun. After confirming their identity, he lets them in and explains that the secret agency has been tracking them. Carl then attaches strange devices to their wrists and reveals that aliens had implanted trackers inside their hands during their abduction. These trackers are what allowed the agency to follow him. Once Carl disables the trackers, the officer suddenly loses their signal. As Carl drives them further into safety, he explains that he has been researching this phenomenon for over 20 years. He has even built a device capable of converting any signal into audio. He reveals that he too once sent a signal into space and received a reply, but it wasn't as strong or clear as Isaac's. Soon, the moment arrives. Just minutes before the spaceship is expected to appear, strange, eerie sounds begin to echo around Carl's cabin. Sensing something unusual, Isaac steps outside to investigate. In the nearby forest, he searches for the source of the sound. Suddenly, an alien appears and starts chasing him. Isaac, terrified but desperate, shouts, "What do you want from me?" The scene cuts to black. Moments later, Isaac is back inside the cabin, and this time the alien's with him. Using his device, Carl manages to translate the alien's language into something they can understand. The alien reveals their true purpose. They want to study humans. They're curious about how humans live, survive, and why Earth is so different from other worlds. As they speak, the alien shows them visions, asking questions about human history. In one vision, they see Jesus Christ. Isaac explains who he is. The alien responds that they already know about him and consider him a unique and significant figure in the universe. Then comes the most shocking revelation. The alien tells Isaac that he is the answer to all their questions. Sarah then complains about pain in her hand since the abduction. The alien explains that they had implanted tracking devices in both Isaac and Sarah. To prove it, the alien places a device on Sarah's hand. Her hand splits open without pain, and the tracker is removed before instantly healing. But just as the alien is about to remove Isaac's tracker, the officer and his team arrive outside the cabin. They threaten Carl, warning that they will kill him if he doesn't come out. Carl steps outside, and the officer confronts him about his father. It is revealed that years ago, during an incident involving Carl, the officer's father disappeared. The officer believes Carl is responsible. Carl denies knowing anything, but the officer refuses to believe him and shoots him. Seeing this, Sarah rushes outside, exposing their presence. The officer realizes Isaac is inside and threatens to kill Sarah if Isaac doesn't surrender. When Isaac hesitates, the officer mercilessly shoots Sarah. At that moment, Isaac's tracker's finally removed. The alien urges him to use his telekinetic powers. In a burst of emotion and power, Isaac acts. He first teleports the hacker out of danger just before a deadly laser attack hits the cabin, and stepping outside, he uses his abilities to make the officer and his entire team vanish instantly. The hacker watches in shock, unable to comprehend what has just happened. Meanwhile, the alien revives both Carl and Sarah. It takes them aboard its spaceship and transports them to a safe location. The story then jumps 6 months into the future. Isaac and Sarah are now living peacefully, with Isaac continuing to master his telekinetic powers. Carl and the hacker have formed their own secret organization, working from the shadows. As for the officer, he was dismissed from his position for killing Carl and Sarah without evidence, completely unaware that both of them are still alive. In the end, Carl expresses his gratitude and happiness, especially seeing Sarah safe, with everything finally at peace.